Okay. Yeah. So something that I've had very dear and very close to my heart lately is the theory of success. Something that I've been thinking about so much since I was a kid, and I felt like I really needed to get this information or these thoughts out there. And I do have a dream of becoming a public speaker one day, among a lot of dreams that I have. But I thought having a webinar like this would be really good practice of talking about these kind of things and see how it resonates with you, and hopefully hear some of your thoughts about this and learn from that as well. So again, I am very grateful to have you all here and giving your time, your most valuable asset. And if you have the possibility to use your webcam so I can see your beautiful face, that would be very much appreciated because I love talking to you as a person. Okay. Some of you, most of you know me quite well. Some of you know me decently, and a few of you actually don't know me at all, basically. So I thought I'd give a few minutes to talk about who I am and a little bit about what my values are and why I am doing this in the first place, or what has gotten me here. So I did have a lot of thoughts as a kid about what I wanted to do when I grew up. And as I grew up and got older as a teenager, I felt that success was all these materialistic things or achievements, or, you know, having all these trophies for the different things that you could do in life, like playing sports, running a company, whatever. And I did hear quite a lot, pretty much all the stories I heard that really caught my attention was usually a story about a kid with a really bad upbringing, and then against all odds managed to get the first place or become the best football player in the world, and things like that. And the more I heard stories like that, I started to draw the conclusion that I will not be something because I did not have a bad upbringing. It doesn't make any sense. But, when we get information, we only know the things we do because of the information we already have. We can't, all the facts in the world, they are based on the information that exists. And as soon as there comes new information, we will have new facts, if that makes sense. But the fact that I had was I'm not going to amount to much because I'm too comfortable in this life. Now, obviously, I had my challenges, my family has had challenges, but who doesn't? We all have challenges. What kind of life would it be to not have a challenge? But I had a really good upbringing. We had good economy. I grew up in Sweden, and I had a good life. And for some reason, I became a master procrastinator. I had these dreams and I did not take action on them because I thought I was too comfortable. And the issue I had with success also is that since I had such a long time span between my idea and the time it took for me to take action. For example, I was 17 years old when I told myself that I wanted to run my own company. It took me over one entire decade to actually start my own company and then make real money from it. It shouldn't have to be that much of a time span. But since it took that long time, I felt like the further and further away I came from the starting point of where my thought came from, it started to feel more like a must. Achieving my dreams felt more like a must, like I have to do it or else I cannot have a good life. And quite frankly, I started to be miserable. There were a lot of times where I was not happy about who I was and what I did. And then comes the problem when I actually start doing something and I do achieve results, I cannot celebrate them because I come with a mentality of it was my obligation to achieve these things in the first place. It's not something to celebrate. It's a box to tick off. And it was very hard for me to feel fulfilled doing so. Even though I made progress in the things that I wanted to get done, I felt like I didn't. But throughout the years, I've had the possibility to work with a lot of people and a lot of companies. You see a couple pictures here in the on the screen. Um, Me as a kid, and then me as an adult getting married to the love of my life, where I, in this moment, holding my wife in her hands in the church, truly reminded me of what true wealth and true success means. And I will dig deeper into this about what success is, how we can use it, and what the problem a lot of people face. And whatever you want to do in life, whatever you want to achieve, how you can use the coming principles that I will go through to actually achieve them, like tangible. There's gonna be a little bit of this presentation that will be a little bit, you can call it woo-woo or whatever. But in the end, we will tie a knot around the whole thing and it will be very tangible. And my goal is to help you understand how you can actually take steps towards your goal, or if you don't even know what your goal is, how you can take steps to creating your goal and find out what really means something to you. Because that's another thing that I've heard a lot, that in order to be something, you need a strong why. And I've never had a strong why until last year. So again, the conclusion was I'll never amount to anything because I didn't have a strong why. I had why. I tried to tell myself why I was going to start a business, why I was going to have this amount of money, all these external things. But none of them really resonated with me on a really deep level. They did intellectually, they kind of made sense, but they didn't fuel me in the morning. They didn't want me to, they didn't make me want to go after the day and live my life to the fullest and appreciate every moment. That's a why that really fuels you forward and makes it feel effortless. But I will get into that very soon. Um, Throughout the years, you see some pictures down here as well. I've been working with a lot of people, a lot of different companies, companies that made as little as zero money at all, just starting out, all the way up to corporations making over 50 billion US dollars, which is an insane amount. But there are a lot of, what's it called? There's a lot of similarities between how these companies work in the core when it comes to marketing and such. So I learned a lot about marketing because something that I've had a passion for a very long time is photography and videography. And just a couple of years ago, I came into the business of creating photography and videography for companies. And that's where we learned, or that's where I learned what's necessary to make the photos and videos actually convert and create tangible results for companies. Because a nice video is just a nice video. And if you post it online, you can get a couple likes. But how is that actually going to benefit your business? How is it actually going to drive traffic to your website, to your product, whatever it is that you want to sell? So that's the type of marketing strategies that I've been really focusing on lately. And I get to combine the thing that I love doing a lot, which is photo and video, with tangible results for companies. So I'm very grateful for the learnings that I've gotten throughout the last couple of years. But I've also traveled to almost every continent in the world and gotten to learn about a lot of different cultures and a lot of different people. And I have so many friends now living all over the world, which I'm very grateful for. And you are all here, pretty much. So, yeah, all of this has shaped me by thinking about the process that I've been through the last couple of years. This has shaped me and made me understand more of what it is that I actually want to do. So my dreams are being an entrepreneur. I want to be married. That's a dream that I've achieved. An entrepreneur is what I am as well. I want to be a public speaker one day. I have seen myself on stages in my mind for so many years, but I've never really answered that dream before. But now I start to realize, like, hey, I actually want this. So I'm going for it. And yeah, I want to have a family. I want to have a big house with a small farm. And I want to be able to travel the world whenever I want, wherever I want. That's a few of my dreams that I have. And I hope that inspires you a little bit. But I want to know what your dream is. So just to get your mind working a little bit, I would like you to write something in the chat here in Zoom about what your dream is. And if you don't know what your dream is, make a guess. I've had dreams before that didn't really resonate with me at all later, but you have to start somewhere. So I want to ask you, what's your dream? And turn down the judgment of yourself, of what you think others think of you. Be your true self. What is your dream? Write a little something in the chat here in Zoom. I would like to see um, your dreams as well to learn a little bit about you. What's your dream? Live a long and happy life with a lot of animals on a farm, not having to work 9 to 5. That's beautiful. Anton, I want to create a documentary style movies that change people's lives and perspective on life. That is amazing. There's so much you can do with that. Um, Anton is one of the best videographers, that I've ever seen, actually, and I'm grateful to call you my friend, Anton. That's very inspiring. Emma, work to live, not live to work. I love that quote. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's very easy to get stuck in the reverse. Again, the external, trying to make the work the work that you do validate you. But if you can get fuel from within and just wake up and be so happy to work, then that makes all the difference. I literally don't know my dream, haha, but yeah, I like to become a great neurologist with healthy and happy life. Snake Bunny, thank you for sharing. That's amazing. And yeah, it's not always easy to know exactly what your dream is, but you gotta start somewhere. Just putting out thoughts out there all the time. I've really realized that as soon as I learned to actually be open with my dreams felt like they came closer. All the time, as more and more I share my dreams come closer. And that's because I share so much that some things are, maybe I share something one day and the next day I don't resonate with that anymore, then that's gone. We are funneling our true self just by sharing our dreams. because that means that we are pinpointing more and more and getting more and more ourselves because we dare to be ourselves by sharing. And just by sharing, it creates conversation and it creates thoughts about what we actually want. Because when we share something out loud, we get a feeling in our body and we notice quite immediately how it feels. And if the day after we remember the feeling that we had sharing that dream, then yeah, maybe maybe that could be a dream to focus on. So just sharing like this, it can make a tremendous difference. Having time and energy to spend even more time doing what I love. Love that. Alsteia, welcome. We are sharing our dreams in the chat right now. If you want to share your dream, you're welcome to write a little sentence. I am grateful to have you here. Jenny, yes, it's okay to write in Swedish, no worries. You want to give teenagers or youth your experience and knowledge about feeling better and finding a quicker way to success, both mentally, but even when it comes to results with their dreams in the horse business. Yes, I've heard quite a lot about your business, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of your journey within that. Stefan, a Zen garden with a lot of roses. Oh man, that sounds lovely. I'd love to release my own book. That's amazing. Wow. I'm feeling really good energy here just by listening and reading about your dreams. That's so amazing. Dana, I want to help women to dare taking place, be safe and present in their bodies, be strong from the inside and out, help them reach their dreams through training their capacity. That is amazing. Yeah, we have such an amazing power within us, and learning how to use it as game changing. Thank you all for sharing your dreams like that. That is insanely brave of all of you. Now I am trying to share my what's happening. Okay, let's see here. There we go. Uh, okay. I'm having some issues with the technology here. Let's see if we can get this thing started again. All right. Uh, the question is, can you see the presentation again? Yes. All right. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So before we get into how we can use success and understand it properly to have the best life possible that we all want to have, of course, we need to define success. What is success truly? And as I mentioned before, when I was a kid, I had a really weird thought about, or incorrect, I would say, idea about what success actually was. I was thinking that in order to be successful, I need to have a private jet. I need to have so insanely much money in the bank that I can buy whatever I want in the world whenever I want, and I never have to look at a price tag. That was the definition of success for me before, which is incorrect because it's not sustainable. What's correct is what's sustainable. We need to understand that in order to live a great life, we need to look for longevity. We need to look for something that can last a lifetime, not something that just gives us temporary motivation. So I've heard an expression called willpower versus want power. And the difference here is if you have willpower, that's something that most of us have heard before, that uses a lot of force. and you have to push a lot in order to get to where you want. For example, when I started working out at the gym, that this was a couple of years ago, I had to kind of force myself to go to the gym, and it was hard. And I didn't do it very frequently because it was hard, and it wasn't part of my identity either. So I didn't. I was the type of person that play video games at the computer all day, and I did not go out and do workouts and exercise my body. So it was very tough for me to do these kind of things because I had to use a lot of force. I had to use a lot of energy to get to where I wanted. But the goal was still to work out. But if I instead would have used want power, that means that I'm now using my identity as fuel. And that means that I am, if I take my example as of today, I went for a run this morning. And that's because I felt like I wanted to. It wasn't hard. I went for a run yesterday as well. I went for, no, actually, I was at the gym yesterday. But if I don't go to the gym anymore, if I would just stop, I'm certain that my nervous system would go crazy and I would feel like not myself anymore. So instead of pushing myself going to the gym, I am being pulled to the gym. Do you understand the difference? There is no force going on here. There is no, ah, man, I gotta go to the gym. This is taking so much energy from me. No, it's giving me energy because it's who I am today. My identity is aligned with a person that works out. That's it. So, um, and usually when, yeah, I think that sums it up. But the best quote that I've heard about what success actually is comes from a man named Earl Nightingale. He passed away, I think it's in the 60s or 70s, but he was a famous American author and self-help author specifically. And I got this quote. I heard it through a podcast that he had, and he got this quote from somewhere else as well. So this apparently has passed on through generations. But I got the podcast sent from me to me from a friend named Phil, who's also a photographer. But he said this, Earl Nightingale. He said that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And this is very individual, but the worthy ideal, an ideal is an idea of what you think a good life is. An ideal is your idea of what it should be. That's an ideal. So how something should be is an ideal, and a worthy ideal in your life is would be what you think a good life is. So if your goal or your dream is to be a teacher, and you are taking steps toward that goal, and you are a teacher, and you're doing it because you love it, because of want power, then you are very much successful. That is success. If you want to run a business and you are actually taking tangible actions toward that goal and becoming a business person, then you are successful. The problem here, as I mentioned a little bit before about me, I want to give another example just to make it even clearer to you. Um, I'm thinking about a person building a house. Okay, so uh, let's say a person bought a piece of land and they're about to lay their first brick. But before they do that, they need to read up on everything that has to do with building houses. They need to know what all the tools names are. They need to know what all the tools do and what tools they should buy in the beginning and what brands to use when it comes to the tools and how to lay floors and how to connect lighting and all these things, the rules that comes to building a house. But that person will have a really hard time of identifying themselves as a person that knows how to build a house before they've actually built the house, or before, at least before they've started building the house. So you can't say that you're a house builder if you haven't even laid your first brick. And this is the problem that I had because I thought that I was a successful businessman or salesperson for several years, or I tried to tell myself that. I almost screamed towards the mirror, trying to tell myself that I wanted to be something, but my nervous system just wouldn't agree because we didn't have proof. Okay? Does this make sense to anyone? Let me know in the chat. You can write one, number one, if this makes any sense so far. Yeah, thank you. Um, let's see here. Okay, so uh, I want to share a little bit. What's happening? There we go. This part here is, I drew this myself, very fancy, but this part is actually one of the most important things that I've learned ever when it comes to personal development. And I learned this from my mentor Tigran Unanjan. And he has been mentored directly by Bob Proctor, who is one of the most famous individuals or biggest names when it comes to self-help and personal development in general, helping a lot of business, primarily the business individuals, growing their business through growing themselves from the inside and out as a human being. And what I've drawn here is a representation of the mind. And I don't know if I can draw on this. Maybe I can do, yeah, I think I found something here. Okay, can you see these orange lines? Thank you. You are my test subjects here. I'm so grateful for all of you. But yeah, so we have the conscious mind right here in the beginning, or in the upper part of the brain, or of the mind, as we could call it, because the mind is more than just the brain. That's the whole, it's the whole spiritual part of the body. We could call it that. And the conscious mind, you see these red arrows, the conscious mind receives impressions, thoughts, and ideas from the outside world. So we all always get impressions, information, feelings, the sensation of weather, whatever. All of this comes from the outside. And by the way, if you want to write this down, go ahead and do so. I think if you can find some type of logic in this, I am 100% sure that it can be very valuable to you either now or later in your life. But the conscious mind is working with the subconscious mind. The difference is, however, that the conscious mind, you have the possibility, because you're conscious, you have the possibility to accept an idea or to reject it. You can choose, you can create your own thoughts all the time. And the difference is, when something comes to the subconscious mind, it has to pass through the conscious mind first. You have made the choice to listen and take in information, and that way it will pass through, the information will pass through your conscious mind, and you can choose to accept or reject it. But if you accept it, it drops down to the subconscious mind. But the difference is here that the subconscious mind does not have the possibility to accept or reject. Everything that comes through the conscious mind will go down to the subconscious mind, and it must be accepted. I'm giving the example now of ice baths. I love, or well, not always love, but I do take ice baths quite regularly. And cold exposure is one of those things that you can do in order to help your nervous system boost adrenaline, clarity. A lot of chemicals in your brain are firing. You get a really nice dopamine curve throughout the day that can fuel you and easier connect you with the goals that you want to achieve during the day. But my subconscious mind does not understand that it's a cold bath. it reacts the same way as if I was chastened by a bear. It, it, it responds as if it's in danger. My conscious mind accepts it, it understands it, and it can choose to not go in the water, it can choose to go in the water. But the subconscious mind, it can't see what's real. It has to accept everything. And that's where it drops down to your body. This is the physical sensations. And what happens here is it can show up as if you, for example, say anxiety, that can be the physical sensation that happens in your chest. That's your body. That's the pressure you feel in your chest. Um, you can feel things like having a lighter breath, or you can um, feel things like pain in your legs after running. Okay, but what happens when we are childs, when we are kids, is this. Let's see if I can remove these things. This is what we look like as kids. So when we are born, our subconscious mind is wide open. And that means that we have to accept everything. Does it mean that that's true? No. We learn things because of our surroundings. But we also learn things when we are here. Sorry. When we are here, the conscious mind, we also learn things about the thoughts that we have for ourselves. So not only do we get information from the outside world, but we do get information from our own thoughts that we choose to create. But as childs, we have to accept everything, and we grow up looking at the world as if things are a certain way. That's a type of behavior that I've been struggling with a lot before, thinking that things need to be a certain way in order for me to achieve success. The problem with that is it's very hard for you to make things happen quickly. You can start living a successful life today if you wanted to. But if you think that things need to be a certain way before you can be successful, then it's going to take a long time. Likely, it's never going to happen because you think that there needs to be a sort of perfection because of the things that you have learned before. For example, you need to have a bad upbringing in order to be successful. Um, what I've learned here is that when we do things we're with our physical body, we get response from the world. We will get feedback from the world when we do something. If if we make a physical nice act for someone, we bake a cake and that person is happy, we choose to receive that information, and it will go through our subconscious mind, programming us to understand that baking a cake, it goes down, it goes around in a loop because we can push things to the outside world, and the outside world affects our conscious mind, and the conscious mind goes down to the unconscious mind again. But um, the thing is, it's very easy to have this thing flipped, where we think that we need to know how something will affect us first, but that's not the way that it goes. And that's how it works when it comes to action as well. So when you try to take action or on something, this webinar, for example, I had no idea how to make a webinar. I had no idea how to create a Zoom account and pay for it and be able to host it and whatever. And I tried to think about how I was going to do it, but just by doing it like this will create so much more clarity than I can ever get than just trying to watch YouTube videos and tutorials on how to create a presentation and do a presentation. I like this example. You can't pave the jungle. You can't put asphalt through the entire jungle and expect to know how to navigate through the jungle. You need to, if you want to be a jungle explorer that knows how to go from one end to the other end in the jungle, you need to navigate through the jungle yourself. That's just how it has to be. And there's no other way. And yes, it's freaking scary sometimes, but that's this subconscious mind, body, physical sensations, anxiety, pressure in the chest, sweating in my hands, all of these things. But the conscious mind understands that, Eric, this is just a webinar. You will not die. And I have to repeat this in myself, in my head, over and over and over again. And when I do that enough, I will be able to regulate my nervous system, and the subconscious mind will accept these ideas more and more. But the subconscious mind could be so filled with the anxiety and the fear of making mistakes. That's a huge fear of mine that I've had before, that I've learned to overcome a lot lately, actually, which I'm so insanely grateful for because it opens up the opportunity for me to be more of myself at all times. And that's how I want to live. But I was so scared of making mistakes, of being bad. My wife knows this. I've it's so silly, but I've had an like just recording a video of myself talking to a camera and posting it online. There was a huge wall behind me and this action right here. But by understanding that the action creates clarity, not the other way around. You cannot know exactly how something, you can know it intellectually pretty good, but you can't know in here before you've experienced it yourself and know how it feels when your hands are sweaty, what happens in your body, what happens in your emotions. The subconscious mind stands for the emotions, and the body stands for the physical sensations. Um, so, talking about action, it seems like we all in this group have a pretty good idea of our dream life and what we want to do more of. So I would like to ask you a question. What brick can you lay this week? Use your dream as the metaphor for the house builder that's putting bricks down to build their house, just to get started. It doesn't mean that you will have the right answer. It doesn't mean that you will come up with the best idea ever and that it will take you so much forward. But the idea of something to do, what could that be? Just a little something. Can you go for a walk? Will that give you more clarity on what your goal is? Can you reach out to a customer? Write a little something in the chat. I would love to read about your ideas when it comes to what you can do this coming week in order to take you at least one step closer towards your goal or towards your dream. Do you have an idea? I can share a brick that I will do this week, and that is reviewing this webinar. Because I want to learn how to distribute my webinars, my coming webinars, and also my upcoming podcast. So one brick that I will lay this coming week is learn how to, because this is being recorded through Zoom. So what I want to learn is how can this recording be chopped up into a lot of small videos that I can use in my advertising. That's one brick that I will lay. Do you have any bricks that you can lay this week that you want to share? Last week, I created a more clear system for my sales process and how I follow up clients in the early stage. So I'm going to learn to use this system and not procrastinate it or forget it. Nice, Anton. Love it. I'm having workcation at Tenerife. Ooh, sunbathing right now. Stefan, man, I am just a little bit jealous, but I'm very happy for you. I do take you as a person that knows how to enjoy life. Thank you for inspiring. I'm going to hold a presentation online later this week. Nice, Anders. Please invite me. If I don't have work, I will definitely join. Love that. I can prep food and plan for my upcoming week to make my job days easier, sticking to plan to live a long and good life. Nice, wifey. Love that. Making video of myself to my Insta followers. Ulrika, you can do it. Trust me, you can do it. And I'm holding you accountable just a little bit, but you can definitely do it. And I'm cheering for you. I love that. It's been, as I said before, ah man, making a video of myself talking to the phone like this. Now that I've done it, it's like, yeah, okay. It just took me a few times, and then it was like my nervous system started to program in the idea that I will not die. It's okay. We will survive. All right. My nervous system is just trying to take care of my body, but I will survive. Planning things that I want to do for me, go home early, go home in time from my work. Not thinking I will just, yeah, that's an easy one. Nice. That's very nice, Emma. It's very easy to get stuck in those thoughts. I agree. Okay, a lot of beautiful comments here. Thank you all for sharing. I see some more coming in, but that's very inspirational for me. I have to like I've said this. I want to say this so many times. I am so insanely grateful to have you all here. It fuels me so much to just be here with you and uh, surround myself with individuals like all of you. It gives me so much energy and so much clarity on what I want to say and where I want to be. I want to touch a little bit on marketing. I've learned a lot about marketing, as I said before, through the last couple of years. But the things that I've learned through marketing is actually applicable in how we can shape ourselves. And after this, I will get a little bit, I will get more into how we can actually use this before we wrap up. Um, but this is called the funnel concept. Okay, so I will draw a little bit here again because I like drawing. Uh, when it comes to marketing, we have to build awareness. Like the most, when it comes to, especially on social media, the things that draws most attention is the things that are applicable for most people. If I'm selling glasses from Ray-Ban, not all people like wearing glasses. But if I want to promote this product, if I have a page where I promote glasses, but I want to drive traffic to my web page as much as possible, I should not do 100% of my videos like this. Hey, these are my glasses. Buy them. They work like these, blah, blah, blah. What I should do is talk about completely different things that people can relate to, that not even people who wear glasses can relate to. And what happens is that we are widening our reach to all the people in the world, or well, as many as possible, just to drive traffic. And the ones who resonate with our message, to our core message, they will stay. And what happens here in the next part of the funnel is interest. So let's say if I have a TikTok page or an Instagram page, I will have most of my content will be about trending topics that can be everything that has nothing to do with selling glasses or glasses in general. But let's say it can be about the benefits of drinking water. This is just a random example. The benefits of drinking water. Everyone drinks water. Everyone eats water. And if we make a funny video or a video that a lot of people can relate to when it comes to drinking water, we will get a lot of attention. And from that attention, people will visit our Instagram page or TikTok page. And the people who resonate with our core message, which has to do with eyesight, selling glasses, that's why we sell glasses, they will stay. And there will also stay people, there will be people that stays because they like the message, our core message, not necessarily that they will buy glasses. But that comes to our next part here, which is the decision to actually be a follower or buy the products. And that leads to action, or I would actually name this a little bit differently, but I would say long-term customer relationships. We could call that instead. Because in the end, you have a product that you want to sell, but if you're just talking about your product all the time, it's not going to be very interesting. You need the funnel. You need to reach out to as many people as possible and then lead them down your funnel. So like 50% of your content should be wide, really wide as possible. And then the next step, like 40%, should be about your core values. But still very wide, but it can be about generally about eyesight, generally about how a computer screen affects us as human beings because it affects our eyes. The the health benefits of going out in a walk where you get sun in your eyes that gives you energy throughout the day. You know, all of these core values can be shared, but it's still very wide. But then you take them down to the bottom of the funnel where you talk about the glasses and why you should have them. And you know, social media is kind of like a big wall that you just throw everything at and you see what sticks. And that's basically how it works today in the social media because there's so much content just flowing all the time. But that's the beauty of it. It means that you will get more feedback as well. And this is what I mean when it comes to applying this funnel thinking to your identity. Because Snega Bunny, I saw that you wrote a comment in the beginning here where you were not entirely sure about your goal or what you wanted to do. But you said also something about being a neurologist, which is amazing. But the more you try taking steps in that direction, it will become more and more and more clear what actually is your core values and what you want to be. So just trying so many things, like I would not have the contracts that I have today with larger corporations if I didn't go to the small companies first and tried different categories there, tried different people and different ways of working. I learned a lot about what I really liked and what I really did not like. And now I am more in a tunnel vision of where I am going and where I want to be. And this is a work in progress. But just by trying more things, you will get more feedback and you will get more streamlined on who you want to be and where you want to go. Okay, so we've talked about your dream, but I want you to write about the feeling that's connected to it. So, what your dream is or what your goal is, what's the feeling that's connected to it? Write a little something about the feeling in the chat. For me, the idea of being a public speaker, the feeling that I get is the feeling of freedom, the feeling of I can be relaxed even though I'm standing in front of 5,000 people. That would be very freeing for me. And is there someone in here that wants to talk about what feelings arise? I would like to interview someone a little bit, just for 3, 4, 5 minutes. You can put your hand up if you want an opportunity to speak. If not, that's okay. Snegabani, thank you for being here. Enjoy the time with your family. Ciao. He's leaving. Uh, Fulfillment, contentment, and happiness, freedom, power, presence. The feeling is contributing to other people's lives in a good way, making an impact in my own way. Stop the windmill expansion. No worries, Stefan. Okay, so I wanted with this exercise having more energy for the things that really matters. Work is important, but friends and family are more important. Important for real, yeah, definitely. So the feeling that you get, this is quite interesting. Uh, I wrote down here, you don't want the dream, you want the feelings. And yeah, we want the dream, but the feelings, that's the foundation for everything. It's very easy to say that I know that I will be happy when I achieve this thing. I know that I will be happy when I have a house and a family. But there's two problems with that. One is that people have that and they are still unhappy. People have what you want to have and they are still unhappy. What does that mean? Okay, so maybe that means that that thing that you want doesn't guarantee the feelings that are connected to your dream. But when you say, when I get this, it also creates the problem that you are distancing yourself as if you couldn't have it now. And we don't want that. Even though might physically not be possible, just telling yourself that when I get this, I will be happy, that means that you are telling your subconscious, I can't be happy now. And that's a big problem. So by shifting that, that's the actual solution. And I will get in the next slide here, I will get deeper into how we can maintain that because it's very easy to say so, but how do we actually live by it? Uh, so the feelings are the things that we want to go after, but but it's in order for us to take steps in life in this society, we need a tangible goal. And that would be if you have a big economical goal, for example, you can say 5 million US dollars. That's my goal. Okay, but I don't need the goal. Just the information or just the knowing about that I don't need the goal. We're talking about willpower versus want power here again. I don't need the goal, but I want the goal. And when you understand that it's the actual feelings behind the goal that you want, you start to understand that there are things that you can do to make these feelings arise now and not later. So you can take ownership of these feelings because they are present, they are part of you. Ever since you were a kid, they've always been here. And when you take ownership, you become infinite. And the reason for this is that $1 million, it can be taken away from you. This dream house, once you get it, it can be taken away from you. A beautiful partner that loves you dearly, that can be taken away from you. Everything out here can be taken away from you, but the things in here, your creativity, your energy, your potential, all of these things, they cannot be taken away from you because they are infinite. There is no way you can put a cap on your creativity. Oh, it stops here. I can't be more creative than this. That's not how it works, and you understand this. Um, but with this understanding, you've also undramatized the goal, which all of a sudden makes you feel like the goal is actually more reachable than I thought it was from the beginning. Because now when I live as if I am in my goal already, it feels like the goal is not this huge thing that is on a pedestal up here. It feels like it's here already because it's part of you, because you live with the feelings every day. And that means since this dream, this goal is connected to your feelings, when you can stick with it, when you learn how to be with these feelings longer and longer and longer, it's a skill that you have to practice. But what happens is the goal will start showing itself clearer and clearer. What it is that is actually meant for you will be shown. There are two states for us as human beings to live in. We have the survival state and we have the growth state. The survival state is something that we all must go through. This is from our primal brain. The survival state means that we are doing everything that we can to stay alive. So far, so clear. The other state that unfortunately not all people in this world get to live with is the growth state or the creative state. When we have passed the survival state, when we feel like our life is not at stake here, we have the option to go over to the growth state where we can start living as if we can start living with building, with expansion, with the intention of growing as human beings. But number one is surviving. That's what we need. But when you're in growth state, you feel like there's an abundance. You feel like there's enough of everything. You feel like there's all these opportunities that you can just grow into all the time. And you feel enough. You still want the goal, as I said before, but you have undramatized it. And you know that you can get it. All right, here we actually start coming to a point where it's more tangible, where we can grab onto the ideas and implement them in our lives. And that is the how. So we have defined what success is. We have defined the problem that a lot of people have, at least from my point of view, where that I have seen all over the world, basically. And the solution to it, but how do we implement the solution into our lives? This is the moment where we talk about that. And we can call it the floors versus the ceilings. Because in a world where we glorify high ceiling goals, we need to find our floors. And the floors is what I call the habits. So if you have a goal, for example, let's take the gym analogy again. You want to be a fitness person. You want to work out regularly. And after work, instead of coming home, taking your gym bag and going to the gym, you sit in the sofa watching TV. And there's nothing wrong with that. But your goal, remember, is go to the gym. So what happens is you have such small friction between you and watching TV that it's much easier to choose that. If the TV was unplugged, if the TV was turned around, and if you had no batteries in the remote control to turn the TV on, there would be a huge amount of friction between you and watching TV. So what you want with your habits, if you want to reduce the friction. For example, you could have your gym bag already packed and a glass of water or an energy drink, whatever you want that you feel like you need. A fruit, you name it. You need to reduce the friction between you and the goal, and you do that through systems. Create these systems. I haven't read the book Atomic Habits, but it's a very famous book, and I've basically read it because of the amount of thoughts I put into what's being said there. It's written by a man named Michael Clear, and he really goes down to the importance of having systems in your life. If you want to build a house, you need to have some decent amount of tools or connections that can help you do that. And through creating these systems, um, you will get more clarity on how you can actually achieve it or just take action on it. But yeah, that being said, it's very easy to think that our habits need to be performed extraordinarily good every time. If I want to go out for a run, for example, it's much better to go out on a run every now and then, like you're doing it regularly, instead of going out once every second month and trying to get a good run in. Your identity is built through getting runs in and doing that consistently good because you're doing it. Even though it might not feel good, it's way better than waiting 2 months, then going for a run, and then the day after, your legs hurt so bad you cannot walk for 2 weeks. Your identity, if you remember what I've said before, listens to your nervous system. You have to tell your body that I am a runner, if that's what you want to be, by going out for runs regularly. And it's so much easier to do that if you reduce the friction. If you wake up in the morning and your running outfit is waiting for you by the door, so you can just get dressed and get out. That's what builds identity, and that's the true how. Build habits that are sustainable. I've done a workout, or I've done a challenge that's called the 75 Hard Challenge. Um, I don't remember if we did that last year or 2 years ago, I think. And that was intense. Like you had to be really strict with your diet and you had to work out twice every day and you had to read a book every day. And it was like these crazy goals that you had to achieve every day. And of course, it was a fun experience, but it's not sustainable. For me, it wasn't, at least. But what because it was not really in line with the goals that I wanted to have. I wanted to do other things throughout my day as well, and this took a lot of time. But it's much easier to go further if you can find a way to be consistently good instead of occasionally great. Does this make sense to anyone? Write a one in the chat, please. And by the way, if you have any questions whatsoever, please just write it out or unmute your microphone. It's totally fine. I would love to hear your questions and ideas. If you don't agree with me, that's also fine. I want to receive all, all of the value that you all have. Now I think I screwed up again. Okay, let's see. I'm getting the hang of this. We're learning, guys. All right. Nope. All right. Give me 1 second. Okay, we have a question. Maria.
Much for a great webinar. I just would like to say that I love you to take the own, when you ask us questions, I love when you tell us your own dreams and your own things about what you want us to talk about. That makes it so much easier to think about what do I like, what do I want to account, what do I want to achieve. So
Mm,
I just love this webinar, and I really hope to have the possibility to look at the what you say the
the recording.
afterwards. Yes,
Yeah.
the recording. And now I have to leave you. So thank you very much. I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. All the love to you. Okay, so something that I've been struggling with is there's a lot of programming in our mind that affects how we do things. Because of the thoughts that we create to ourselves, I'm gonna give the example again of the amount of time it took for me to start my own company. After a few years, without starting my new company, I told myself really bad things that no one should be telling themselves at all or telling anyone. Um, and it was only once I started to reprogram myself into thinking a different way, although it might not have felt like the truth in the beginning, it started to feel like the truth because, as I mentioned before, the subconscious mind has to accept everything. So if you just load it with information, so much information that it has no choice to overwrite the old information that didn't make sense, then you will become a new person and you will instinctively start to react differently to situations in your life. And the best thing that I've ever had to shape me into the things that I want to get done is through environment. I think all of us, or most of us, have heard that you are an average of the 5 people that you hang around the most. But the thing is, it's also in today's world the information that we consume through especially digital inputs like social media. And I had an addiction to my phone. Like this thing, I love it, but I still kind of hate it sometimes. But it's been tough. It sounds so silly, but the reason is I did not have an environment where I felt like I had accountability to a bigger cause than myself. I had, I mentioned that I had a good upbringing, which means that I had very easy to feel comfortable. I had very easy to be the same that I have always been. But in order to go through the jungle, you will have to face new challenges. And the jungle for me has been launching my own business and making money through it. That has been a big challenge for me because I didn't see myself as an entrepreneur. And it didn't help by screaming in the mirror, but it did help putting myself in an environment, getting connection, getting friends that was also on a similar path where I felt like, okay, this is normal. This is more normal. And it overrides the old identity, the old part of my nervous system that didn't serve me anymore. So environment is the most or one of the most important tools that you can have if you want to achieve something that's completely new to you. Um, we are, if you remember, or well, if you've ever seen a child fall, you might have noticed that they usually look up to their parent after they've fallen. They hit their head, and before crying, they're like, how should I react? That's us. We don't do it as obvious when we're adults, but it's still part of who we are as human beings, the animal that we are in our primal brain. We need to have validation from the outside world in order to know how we are supposed to react, in order to know how we are supposed to fit in. But since we have a lot of options about when it comes to how we want to live in today's world, we can choose what type of environment we get the confirmation from. So I remember I've put quite a lot of money into personal development and mentors and coaching. I think I'm above like probably 50,000 US dollars by now. And it's been very, very valuable for me because I was sure that I wanted something, but by talking to people in a different environment where they had things that was similar to the things that I thought that I wanted, I got so much more information. I got so much more clarity on what I actually wanted. So, for example, I have a dream about having a certain type of house, a certain type of farm, a certain type of lifestyle when it comes to traveling and working abroad and such things, having kids in the future and everything. And I thought that if I have a revenue of 500,000 US dollars, that would be enough. But as I started to stack these things up, I realized that, yeah, this does cost quite a lot of money, all of these things that I want. And of course, they're external, but there's nothing wrong with having these types of external goals because they will put you on a direction. They're very tangible, it's measurable. So, having a house or a car or money or followers on social media, they are good goals, but they shall not define you if you separate yourself from it because you are the reason the goal can come to you in the first place. But what I wanted to have said with this is that when I said these numbers to my mentors, they told me to add another zero. Like instead of 500,000 US dollars, they told me, why not 5 million? Because you're describing a life that seems to require quite a lot more money. And for me, that was like, that's insane. I don't need that at all. But as I start doing the maths, the things that I wanted in my house, I realized that they cost a lot of money, or not necessarily a lot, but they cost more money. And so I settled on 5 million US dollars. And at first, that felt so insanely stupid. Why would I why would I have a goal of 5 million US dollars? But then I started to realize as more and more I started to use that as a goal, I started to realize that okay, it's nothing but a goal. Okay? It's we've talked about this in the beginning of this webinar. I can live as if I am in the goal already. I don't need it, but I want it. That's different. And the motivation that you get from the goal or from the idea, it can get you going. Absolutely. You can feel fired up. But the discipline, who you are, that's what keeps you growing. And so by being in the environment where my discipline is being shaped, if if you want to my wife and I talked about this the other day, but just having a goal when it comes to running, we're both running the marathon this year, and she has already ran a marathon. She's a freaking force of nature. She can do anything. But realizing that running a marathon is something that's pretty easy. And not necessarily easy, but it's very achievable. That's a better word. It's uh, it's very comforting for the nervous system, and it makes me feel like it's actually accessible. I was 14 years old or 13 when I hurt my knee playing tennis. I I got a ball um, towards my face and I ducked. Now, to anyone who wants to learn how to play tennis, don't take advice from me because when you play tennis, you're not supposed to duck from the balls. You're supposed to hit them with your racket. But I I dodged the ball instead, and my knee did this. It snapped like twice, and I had so much pain in my knee for like almost 10 years, and I didn't feel like I could be a person that ran far distances until I got the information that I could. Until I got the information that there are ways of actually fixing your knee that unfortunately the healthcare couldn't help me with for some reason. I still don't understand why, but I managed to find a person online that could help me. And I did exactly the things that he did. And it, in just a few months, I fixed my knee. And now I can run far distances. I can run a lot every week, which is insane because I knew that my knee was broken and I couldn't run. I knew that until I knew something else. And that came from the environment. So, what I want to give you as a ending here, I just want to share with you what I've built. And it's a community primarily. I do work with marketing for a lot of businesses all over Europe. But what I really needed to get to where I wanted faster was a proper community, an environment where I felt like this is normal. The thoughts I have is normal. They are welcome. So what I've created is a community where it costs €9 per month, where we will have group calls every second week. We will share our dreams. We will hold each other accountable, and we will track goals, and we will make discussions to create clarity on the steps to take next. And you will just be part of a really big growth environment. And we will do this online through a platform called School. I will share the link to you here in the comment section or in the chat in 1 second. But it's something that I really needed when I first said that I wanted to start my own company. Now, I do also work with one-on-one coaching to help individuals achieve the goals that they want by having a one-on-one coaching session, because that's what I've had the last year through all of 2025. I had a person call me every 2 weeks to check in that I'm doing the things that I said that I was going to. That's a huge pain of mine. I had so many years where I told myself that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And in the end of the day, I looked myself in the mirror and I felt worthless. It came to the point where I almost hated myself, or I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I did hate myself at times. It wasn't fun. It was not, I didn't feel like that was a life worth living. But when I started to get people into my life where I felt like I had more accountability towards, I have no time today to sit and scroll on my phone for hours like I used to. There's no way I can do that and not fail a lot of people. If I were to spend, it's Monday tomorrow, if I were to spend half of Monday tomorrow using my social media to just scroll and consume content, I would make so many people mad. But I love that because it gives me the freedom to actually be accountable and feel like I am giving value to someone else than just me. And by doing so, this is so strange how the mind works, but I have a very easy time getting addicted to things for some reason. Like if I drink energy drinks, you're gonna see me start drinking energy drinks every day. If I start scrolling on social media, I can go on for hours. But by having someone to be accountable towards, I feel like I'm not the person that lets that person down. So I had a coach called Eric. He called me every 2 weeks for the whole of 2025. And all of a sudden, I achieved economical results because that's what I had at the time. I had economical goals. I had economical results that were on a level that I could not have known I was able to achieve otherwise. Hands down. So what you're getting through the VIP coaching is all of the recordings for webinars and the frameworks that I use for social media marketing, but also one-on-one coaching sessions where we have video calls or calls through just a phone if you want that. But we create strategies and we follow up on the goals that you have, where you want to go. And the third part here is the marketing packages. I do work, if you want more information about this, I have my email down in the middle of the screen here. I work with a lot of companies with different marketing packages because I've seen the results that it can make over time when it comes to a proper strategy over several months about how you distribute your content. Because I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar that I have created a lot of photos and a lot of videos where I felt like, and also where the customer felt like, this is good stuff. We're very happy with the content that we have here, but how are we going to make it convert into actual proper results for your business? That's the marketing packages that I work with now for a lot of different corporations and shaping brands. I am so insanely grateful for all of you here today that you have given me the most valuable asset that you could have, which is your time.